My brothers and my sisters. Hey, my name is Reverend Aki Ahim, and I'm here today to just share a few principles with you to help you grow and your not only in your spiritual life, but in your business life also, because the principles in the Bible work just as well in the secular world and the physical world as well as they do in the spiritual realm. Okay, in case you say, well, what are you talking about? Okay, when they say plant a seed, cover it up, water it, it'll grow. That principle works whether you saved or not saved, right? So this is not about you being saved. This is about me giving you some information to help you grow in your business and in your spiritual walk. Okay, so you could go from both avenues and still be successful. Okay, so today I'm here to discuss with you about being careful what you ask for. See, because a lot of times we ask for things, and I know I ain't the only one. We ask for things, and then when we get it, we wish to God we had never asked for it. You've had clients that you've gotten, you wish you could give back. You've gotten claims you've gotten, you wish you could give it back. You've gotten cars that you thought you wanted, you wish you could give back. They call them lemons, okay? So be careful what you ask for. I'm here today to talk to you about a king who asked for something, and I've heard this preached a lot in church. They always talk about how great it was for him to get the extra 15 years, but they never talk, well, I have never heard them talk about the repercussions behind him getting those extra 15 years. So let me just read the first part of this. This is in Isaiah chapter 38, 1 through 5. It said, in those days was Hezekiah sick unto death, and Isaiah the prophet, the son of Asmon, came unto him and said unto him, thus saith the Lord, set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. Then Hezekiah turned his face towards the wall and prayed unto the Lord and said, remember now, O Lord, I beseech thee, how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore. And it came the word of the Lord to Isaiah, saying, go and say to Hezekiah, thus saith the Lord, the God of David, thy father, I have heard your prayer, I have seen your tears. Behold, I will add unto thee thy days 15 years. Now, there's more to it than this, believe me. But I just want to, we're going to go through this step by step, and I'm going to show you how sometimes we could ask for things and, and it costs nothing but heartache, suffering, and pain later on down the road. Because, let's face it, God, the Almighty God, the omniscient God, the God that knows everything, the God is everything, the God that only does what's good for us, if he tells us to do something, then it only stands to reason that by all things that's been done and said throughout the history of the world in the Bible, that we should do it because it's only good for us. But in this case, Hezekiah didn't think it was good for him to leave at that time. So we're going to find out what all took place, how this take place, how to yield to the will and understanding of God, because there's a saying in the Bible that says, nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. We're going to discuss that more right after that. Right after this, we'll be right back. Okay, we've discussed the first part of that Isaiah 38, 1 through 5. We're going to do the 1 through 21 through 22 right now. And just to show you that God was gracious, God just decided to let him go. And now here's what it says. It's Isaiah had said, let them take a lump of figs and lay it on a plaster upon the boil, and he shall recover. Hezekiah also said, what is the sign that I shall go up to the house of the Lord? Now that's a whole nother subject that I'm not going to get into right now, because this is when he turned the sundial back to show that what he said was going to be so. But here's the issue that I want to talk to you about. God, you know, he's only going to do what's good for us, right? I'm quite sure everybody on here agrees with that. No matter what the world says about why, if he's so good, why he let bad things happen, we have to go all the way back to the garden that sin and evil came into the world through Adam and Eve. So, and God didn't put evil here, didn't allow it to have man, let that come in through the devil. So we're not going to go there. What we're going to go is here, because we understand that God only wanted the best for us. So what happens here? He thought that he knew better than God, right? That's what he thought. He said, hey, listen, I know better than you, God. And why do you say that? He says, because in the end, you're saying, okay, you want me to leave. You want me to not be here, to not go any further than I should. And I'm telling you that I need to stay here, because you got it twisted. Somehow you just don't get it. Somehow you missed the mark. You know, if you take me away from here, stuff is not going to get done. And this now, I'm telling you, that's what it sounds like he's saying, because God already done said, get your house in order. I'm going to bring you home. And when God, now understand something, God is not an arbitrarily human being like we are. He just don't do things because he ain't got nothing else to do. He said, I'm going to do what's best for you. I'm going to bring you home right now because you deserve it. Your reputation is intact, as you said. And all these things you said are true up to now. So if I bring you home now, everything's going to be all right. But here's what's going to happen because, and first of all, let's get this straight. He ain't changed God's mind. Some people say you can pray and change that. Nah, you ain't changed God's mind, because first of all, God knows the beginning, the middle, and the end. There are no surprises. He knew this was going to happen before it happened. So in no way he changed his mind. You know, God got a perfect will and a permissive will for our lives. His perfect will, come on home right now. His permissive will permitted him to stay and suffer the consequences, okay? Now, chapter 39, verse 1, at the time of Merodach Baladan, the son of Baladan, the king of Babylon, sent letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he had heard that he had been sick and was recovered. And Hezekiah was glad of them and showed them the house of his precious things, the silver, the gold, and the spices, the precious ointments, and all the house of his armor, and all that was found in his treasures. There was nothing in the house nor in his dominions that Hezekiah showed them not. Then came Isaiah the prophet unto King Hezekiah and said unto him, what said thee unto these men, and from whence came they unto thee? And Hezekiah said, they come from a far country unto me, even from Babylon. And then he said, what have they seen in thine house? And Hezekiah answered, in all that is mine house, they have seen. There is nothing among my treasures that I have not showed them. Then as Isaiah to Hezekiah, hear the words of the Lord's host. Behold, the days come that all that is in thine house and all that which thy fathers have laid up in store until this day shall be carried to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, saith the Lord. All of thy sons that shall issue from thee, which thou shalt begot, shall be taken away, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. Now, first of all, if Hezekiah had left when God wanted him to leave, he wouldn't have did what he did. Because of what he did, because he thought he knew better than God, which in every case in the Bible, every time we think we know better than God and we want to do something different than what God wanted done, nothing but trouble pursues. Now, for the life of me, I can't figure out why he decided to let these guys see everything, but he did. And God said, because you decided to do that, because they were never supposed to do that, all of it, not some of it, not a little bit of it, not part of it. He said, all of it was the Babylonians gonna take to Babylon, and nothing was gonna be left in Israel. In other words, one of the richest nations on the earth were gonna become one of the poorest nations on the earth. And not only that, he said, every child that come from you that get carried into Babylon, and this wasn't not just considering his children, because as a king, you the father of the country. They get put into Babylon, they're gonna be made eunuchs. And for all of you who don't understand what a eunuch is, it's a man that be made where he cannot produce children. Now, one of the greatest things in Israel is their lineage, their line of lineages. You know, that they're able to trace where they come from, and when their bloodline is one of the most important things in Israel. And for your bloodline to get cut off because of something you did means you really, really, really tick God off. And now think about this. Because of what he did, like, again, remember, we're talking about being careful what you ask for. Because if he would have left when God wanted him to left, none of this would have took place. They would have kept the gold, they'd have kept the money, they would have been who they were, their kids would have stayed in Israel. But because of what he did, all this took place. Now think, if you are his child and you find out that I am being made a eunuch because of something my dad did, I don't know about you, but I'd be really upset about that, because you didn't have to do that. God had called you home because you was in a good place. He had stuff stored up for you, but you chose to believe you know more than God, that you knew better than God. And so you asked for 15. He said, okay, since you just want it, I'm gonna give it to you. And then whatever happened, happened. And because of that, all the gold is gonna get to them. We gonna become eunuchs, can't have no kids. Our bloodline's gonna end with us. Not only do our bloodline end with your bloodline end with us, because what you did was so despicable in the sight of God. Listen to me. Those of us who have a right relationship with God, when God give us directions, give us a way to go, we need to follow it. Again, remember what I said about this saying, nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. Of course, we don't understand everything God wants us to do. Of course, it don't feel good, everything God wants us to do. But again, if we understand he only wants the best for us, then no matter what it is, we need to just go ahead and say, okay, God, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, and things will work out. But if not, you know, and this goes further than that. How many times has one of your loved ones gotten sick and things weren't looking good, and you praying to God, God, don't take them, don't take them, don't take them. The only one, and they ready to go, God ready to take them home, but you praying for them to stay here, that suffer some more, to go through aggravation some more, to keep going to see the doctors, to keep getting stuck with pins and needles and can't breathe, and when they could go to heaven and be with God and not have any suffering, not pain, no more bills, no more heartaches, no more backache, no more mortgage payment, no more, none of that. Live a life like it, and because they don't go into their just rewards, but we're holding them up because we're praying to try to get God to change his mind. Not that God changes his mind. He just simply said, okay, this is my perfect will for your life, for their life, your life. But since you insist, I'm going to give it to you, and then we're going to see what happens. Sometimes we need to learn just simply to let God's will be done. When God gives you an idea that could be beneficial, that could make you wealthy, make you rich, or get you out of the hole that you're in, but because it's something that's never been done before, because it's something I've never done before, or because it doesn't feel comfortable, I said, oh God, I don't think that's gonna work. I ain't feeling it and all that, but that ain't got nothing to do with it. The whole thing here is, do we trust God or not? If we trust God and what he says and what he does, then we know and we believe that he has nothing but the best intentions for our lives. Then we need to trust him and believe in him, and he will do what he said he's gonna do. Because listen, there's so many times in the Bible, but I'm not gonna try to go through all of them, but it says that in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, trust the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. Not paths with the plural. Now, trust in him, believe in him, and he will take you through. See, sometimes we go into something, we go into it without God. We want God to fix it. But if we get on our knees and pray and say, okay, God, here's the thing. I got this opportunity before me. I'm not sure what to do. I need your wisdom. I need your understanding to direct me. I don't want to lean on my own wisdom. I want to trust and depend on you, and he will guide you. He will lead you. He'll be a lamp unto your feet where you won't step into the quagmires or pitfalls, and you'll be successful. But you got to be careful what you ask for. I've seen so many times people ask for cars that they thought they wanted. Then I hear them complain later on about, man, I had nothing but trouble since I bought that car. I had nothing but trouble. Man, I went into this business adventure, and guess what? The dude ran up all the money. Now I'm stuck with all the bills. How many times these basketball players, football players, they die broke because they had all this money and they didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know who to trust. They didn't know who to believe in. But one thing about it, you can trust God no matter what. We have to learn to depend on God. And sometimes when we get to the point where we say, God, I just don't think you got the best interest of my heart, I'm going to do it my way. Let me give you another example before I close this out. And Luke, in Luke 15, 11 through 32, I'm not going to read it, I'm not going to go through it. Just a very familiar passage about the prodigal son. Now anybody that know anything about the Jewish culture, the oldest son gets the double portion, everything else gets split among everybody else. And you don't get your inheritance till your parents die. Well, this kid decided he knew better than everybody else. He went to his dad. Do you know what he was literally saying to his dad? I'm tired of waiting on you to die. You taking too long to die. I want my money now. Now, this system is set up for a reason. It's set up to protect you, to get you through. But his dad said, okay, that's not the way it's supposed to be done. But what I'm going to do, I'll be gracious. I'm going to go ahead and give you your money, your inheritance, and you go do what you will with it. It did not take long before, and the Bible said it riotous living. And when it says riotous living, I mean, he was balling. He was doing everything. He was big and bad enough, and his money would allow him to do, he did it. And it wasn't long. What's that old saying? A fool and his money soon depart ways. Well, that happened. Got so bad Jews are not supposed to eat anything that has to do with the pigs. They're not even supposed to wear clothing that have anything to do with pigs. Here it is, he got so bad off that he was willing to eat with the pigs. Be careful what you ask for. And he realized, now the difference between him and Hezekiah was, God told Hezekiah to get his house in order because he's going to get called home, and he didn't want to go home because he knew better than God. But this wasn't his case. He was just simply a disobedient kid that thought he knew better. So grace was on him. And he realized the Bible said when he came back to his right mind, said when he come to himself, so he realized, my father got servants living better than me. I'm going to say, God, I sinned against God in heaven. I sinned against you. I don't even want to be your child. I mean, I don't have the right to be your child anymore. Just make me one of your hired servants, because I realized I done wrong. But Dad was so glad to see him come back to him, to see that he had learned his lesson. He said, go ahead, put a robe on him, put a ring, because the signet ring determined who you were, and put shoes on the feet, because back in them days, only ones walked around barefooted were slaves. Got to put shoes on his feet. Got to make him a part of the family again. Kill the fatted cat, because we getting ready to celebrate. Listen, you got to be careful what you ask for. You got to know, you got to learn and know when to ask, how to ask, because if you don't, you're only going to end up in trouble. I'm going to read one more. Here we go. Romans 8:26, it says, likewise, the Spirit help our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit make intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. You know, the Spirit's, because we don't know what to ask for sometimes. We have to lean. That's why we got to lean on the Spirit. We got to ask God for us directions. We got to ask God how we should go, how we shouldn't go, because God knows the way. God has seen the beginning, the middle, and the end. And if we just trusted and leaned on him and not our own understanding, he's going to make our paths and say path. So the direction that we take, he's going to be directing them all. And the thing about it, one thing about it, God cannot fail. He will not fail, cannot fail. So if he directing you, if he delivering you, if you're dependent on him to help you be successful, you're going to make it. I don't care what it looks like, you're going to make it. Listen, my podcast is up and running. You're going to see in the links below that we're on iTunes and a few others. I'm going to put all the links below. You can click on any of them to check what's going on and how we're going about. Click on and see how we're making out. Help us grow this so we can keep it moving, keep it going, because God has want the word to get out, and I want to get it out. And I want to help some of you spiritually, physically, and financially, because these principles work no matter what. If you trust and depend on God, he will help you through the process. He will make you successful. Click the like button, hit the subscribe button, help this channel grow. Also, leave a comment. It might be something I missed that you might want to hear about. I'll be glad to talk about it. I got some future podcasts or future videos coming up where I'm doing with health organizations and different things, people in the health field, to help people grow through this, because mental illness is a major thing going on now. And we need to know how to get through that, how to do that, what to do for, who to get to, who to contact. Sometimes we don't have things because we just don't know. I found out a long time ago, when you don't know something, you got to go ask somebody. The book of James said, you have not because you ask not. So we need to learn to ask. Ask the one who knows. God bless you. God keep you. God watch over you.